Well, it looks as though we are live, Lisa.
Looks like it.
Yeah, I think we are live.
Yes.
How are you today, Lisa?
Oh, I feel awesome. It's so pretty here. I just came in. I had to run over to my girlfriend Cherie's house. I just got back in. It's beautiful outside. The weather is perfect. The temperature is good. And the sunshine just makes me feel happy and giddy.
Well, I'm glad. It's cool. We're having a cooling trend. It's only 86 degrees.
Oh, that's a big drop. You were like 120 in the shade a few days ago, right? Something like that, right?
Most definitely. Most definitely.
I said, oh, California is melting. The West Coast is melting.
Yes, the West Coast is melting. So you have dropped in today on Coast to Coast Beauty. I'm Sharen Davis on the West Coast.
And I am Lisa Washington on the East Coast.
Yes.
East Coast
And
Beauty.
together we are Coast
to Coast Beauty.
And today we're going to be talking about breast cancer.
Yes.
Yes. Breast cancer is one of the things that is Awareness Month of in the month of October. And so we're going to pay a little attention to that.
October is the heavy month, isn't it? I mean, domestic violence and then breast cancer awareness. And there are a couple other ones out there too. So it's a heavy month. I think they wanted to get it all over with, get it all in before the holidays.
Well, breast cancer, I don't know, have you had your mammogram this year, Lisa?
I have had actually 2 mammograms in the last year. But I make sure I get one every year. And I didn't just, take what the doctor said. Sometimes it depends on which doctor you go to. They'll say, oh, you only need to come every 5 years. And so I did the research myself and saw, what the norms were, according to your family history and your markers and so forth. And so, yes, I am very almost religious about it. Mm-hmm. What about you?
Yes, I had mine done which was late. I usually do it the week of my birthday. I started that when I was like 18, that I got all the big things done. Hello, Stacy. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Stacy. Oh my goodness.
I get the big things done, like the pap smear and the breast cancer stuff, all those things done the week of my birthday, just so that I remember to do that. And I have to say that it absolutely saved my life one time, because I did come up with some markers for, not for breast cancer, but for cervical cancer. And I had it done in April. And by the end of May, I had a hysterectomy. So it absolutely was a huge change from one year to the next.
Okay.
I don't have the markers. I'm not high risk for breast cancer in terms of family genetics, but in terms of being African American female, that makes us high risk anyway.
Right. I'm so glad you said that. Most people do not know that. Okay, you don't see that in the news a lot. No. I haven't seen one single commercial on that talking about breast cancer awareness, or even Susan B. Komen, or any of them, or even the Cancer Center of America. No one is saying that just by being born African American, you are already higher on the risk scale than someone who is not.
Well, let me kind of correct that, because we're not actually higher on the scale in terms of the frequency, but we're higher at risk for dying of it.
Right. And the reason why, but still though, it's something that should be more well known. It should be out there. And you touched on one of the reasons why we are more at risk for dying from them. When you said that you get your test every year on your birthday, and it's because it is a part of your plan, and it's a part that makes it very easy to remember and very hard to forget. And I know for me, I remember 30 something years ago when I married my husband. January, we got married in June. And then in January, I was like, oh, I scheduled all of us for physicals, so you have to get out from work. And he was like, I'm not sick. I was like, no. We all get physicals. And so we started this tradition of every January, all of us, the whole family. Then later on, our insurance changed. We got older. The insurance started the policy of if you're a certain age, then you could get a physical and then what they call a checkup, almost like a mini physical 6 months later. So I could get two, and I started that. So the reason why we are more at risk of dying from it is because I think no one has taught us to put those parameters in place. No one said that every year, pick a date that's easy to remember, either your birthday or like for me in January, I know that a new year means a new physical. And then I even thought about, and I thought about this every year when the time changes, I would tell my husband, remember, change the batteries in the smoke alarm. But now we have the ones that are wired in, and so we don't have to worry about that. But back in the day, all the smoke alarms had batteries, and we're told to change them twice a year because nobody wants a fire and the smoke alarm fails. And so I thought, wow, that would be if I had to ever change my time for having a physical, I would make it something like that. Twice a year, the time changes. And so that would be the time when I knew it was time to go get my checkups. And so whatever it is for you, Black, white, Hispanic, no matter what the ethnicity, no matter what the nationality, everyone by breathing is at risk. Okay.
Right. And that includes men.
And oh my goodness, yes. I remember the first time I saw an article about a man dying from breast cancer, and I thought, oh, no, that's a joke. It's not real. And you know me, the research queen, I was all over that thing looking, and I was so enlightened as to that happening. It was very widespread. By the time I even heard about it and got the news about it, it had been out there. But that's another thing you never hear a commercial about.
I think Richard Roundtree from the Shaft days, those of you that are a little younger than Lisa and myself, who probably don't know who that is, but he was probably the first African-American male to bring some notice to the fact that African-American men, period, get breast cancer. And it can be just as devastating as for women. So it is something that we need to be aware of.
Yeah, that's amazing. And we live in a day and age where, I mean, medical research and medical care is abundant. I'm not saying everybody can afford it. That's a whole nother debate. But it's a lot of it out there. And so it's amazing to me that we're still finding things that we didn't know, like that men got breast cancer and, or that, women die of heart attacks more than men because it used to be considered a male disease or a male, a dominated disease. And so, but they're still finding more and more. And so we really have to pay attention to our health. Okay, I think Stacy said something.
We're not at higher risk. We are, when we are diagnosed, it goes through us faster, is my understanding. In Moreno County, California, white women have the highest rate of that breast cancer. It's richest in North Carolina. Northern California. That's true. And the fact is that because we don't get checkups as frequently and do not put that as a high priority, by the time we are diagnosed, we are in the later stages. So of course that makes us much more difficult to treat, and higher likely that we're going to die. And that's interesting too, Stacy, that Northern California has a lot of high incidence of different kinds of cancers. And yeah, that's very interesting to find out. I was recently reading about that lung cancer, pancreatic cancer, breast cancer is much higher incident of that in Northern California. So we need to put some fire under somebody to find out what that's about. But you know, yeah, one of the things that's happening, and I try to stay out of the political arena. I try very hard to stay out of the political arena. But one of the things that's happening is that people are lumping everything together in terms of like Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood also provides free mammograms for women who cannot afford it. So, you know, the fact that we're lumping those services into one category as, you know, things that we don't necessarily agree with. Oh, the water. Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't heard about that.
The water. Yeah.
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 I've even heard about the water issues in California. I've even heard all the way here on the East Coast. So I know it's definitely a matter for debate. Yes.
Not debate. Find out what's going on. No debating. Let's get to it. We don't have time for that.
No matter what, it's going to end up being a debate.
Well, yeah. Yes.
But, no matter what. But I will say this. I've never had breast cancer, but I have had 3 large tumors removed from my body. And matter of fact, my doctor joked that, wow, are you sure you're not from Texas? Because you grow them big. And you grow everything big. And so I had a 4-inch tumor, a 7-inch tumor, and an 8-inch tumor removed from different parts of my body.
My goodness, you have bigger tumors than I have babies.
I mean, this is crazy. And so, and she really did. She joked. She was like, my goodness, you growing big, girl. What are you drinking or eating? Are you sure you're not from Texas? You know, the big state. And so the interesting thing though, she praised me for was all 3 of them I found through routine checkups. I had no symptoms at all. It's just my habit of going every January and then back in July. And in July, mostly what they check is blood. They check for markers in your blood. You don't get the whole physical. So check with your health insurance. A lot of them are doing that now because it's a lot cheaper for them to catch it and pay for that treatment than it is for pay for the treatment after things have gotten so bad. And so that's why a lot of them started that habit of, you can go get a physical once a year and you can have like a mini checkup, which is your, you know, blood pressure, draw your blood, check for blood markers in your blood and all of that kind of thing. So you can have one of those, 6 months later. And so, I can't even imagine and all of them had what they call precancerous cells. So I cannot even imagine if I would even be here or what my quality of life would be like had I not had that habit of doing it. And I got that habit from my grandmother, who I lived with until I was 5. She was a RN, and she had the habit of religiously going and getting a physical every year. And even though from 5 years old, when I was 25, I got that from her at 5. When I was 25, that was still ingrained in me. It was still there. And so I'm totally appreciative. And I hope that if somebody listening to us, if somebody listening to us will start this habit, it'll be all worth it.
Right. They check you for stuff and don't even know they're checking you for things. Yeah. They just have it on the panel, and then they, whatever that means. And Pacific insurances have specific data that they want. And then sometimes if you're lucky, you get connected with a university who might be doing some kind of research plans, and then you will get extra additional things happen, and they will contract with insurances to do that. So in that case, you benefit in that way. But I have never had, well, there's not a history of breast cancer as far as I know in my family. Every mammogram I have had I've had to go, well, up until probably the last 2 years, I've had to go and have a second one because they saw something. Now that always, of course, is going to freak you out for the length of time that you have to wait to get scheduled and go back in. But by the third time that this happened, I knew what it was. Everyone shows calcium deposits. So therefore, they go ahead and do another mammogram or sonogram or something, some other testing to rule out that it's anything significant. But yeah, having it as a routine habit and teaching our young women, very young, like you said, 5 years old, you had that ingrained in you and carried it into your family. And that's what I always say is when you impact a woman's life, you impact a community. You impacted your whole entire family by that simple action that your grandmother instilled in you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And thinking about something else, but the thought just went right out of my head. Oh, and one of the other habits that I had was every month, and they taught me this when I was a young lady. I mean, I went to some kind of class and they taught me self-breast. And so I was every month about the time of your monthly cycle, you do a self-check for lumps. And I made that a habit. And at one time I did find something, but I was told that it was just a deposit and it went away. But it was on the side, almost up to my underarm. And so, I thought, well, should I stop using deodorant? What does it mean? But the doctor assured me that it was nothing. It was just there and it was going to go away. And they see these things. But when I found it, I had to go for more tests. And so for me, I don't know if they still teach that or not. But if they do, Google online how to do the self-examination at least once a month. And because I do know of a person who did find a lump doing that, and it was small, and she got it in time, and she had to have the breast removed. But had she not been doing those monthly checkups, who knows what would have happened?
Right. I'm looking at here, what are the signs and symptoms of breast cancer? And it says the most common symptoms of breast cancer include feeling a lump in the breast area with or without pain. That's a big thing, is that a lot of times people think if there's no pain, there's no problem. But right. With or without pain, change in the breast shape or size, dimples or puckering in the breast, because that in itself is a whole different type of cancer that happens that people don't even, it's a whole nother topic. A nipple turning inward into the breast, nipple discharges other than breast milk, especially if it's bloody, scaly red darkening or swollen skin in the breast area, itchy, scaly sores or rash in the nipples, dimpled, pitted appearances or feeling similar to an orange peel in the breast area, swollen or enlarged lymph nodes around the breast area, including all the way up to the collarbone and into the armpit. These are just some of the symptoms. It also talks about what increased your risk. A personal or family history of breast cancer, including the DSIS and LCIS. And I really should have brought information on what those mean, but I did not, and I will post that. Inherited genetic predispositions, most commonly with BRCA1 or BRCA2 gene mutations. And obviously, I will post what those mean. I have a lot of posting after. Elevated lifetime estrogen exposure, including early onset of menstruation before the age of 11. Now, that I never was aware of. Late onset of menopause after the age of 55. Older age of first childbirth after birth of 30, or never having a child before the age of 30 puts you at higher risk. And taking testosterone or taking estrogen or progesterone after menopause. Having dense breast tissue, obesity, prior radiation therapy to the chest, and it goes on. Those are some of the main things. But race and ethnicity, Caucasian women are more likely to be diagnosed with cancer, but African American women are more likely to die from it. African American women are also more likely to be diagnosed at a younger age, under 45. So I know recently they have changed the age. For it used to be 40 when you could get your annual mammogram. They dropped that to 35. In fact, my daughter, made a point of like, well, you didn't tell me about this. Yes, but that is in your best interest.
Yes, it truly is. I will say this. Nothing can prepare you for a cancer scare or cancer. There's just no preparing for it. I thankfully have never had cancer, but I did, as I said, had 3 scares. And that means that the doctor has told you it could be, we got to do some more tests, and you're waiting for those test results to come in. That is the most excruciating thing. I don't know what it feels like to get the news that it is, but I know what it feels like to be waiting to find out. I mean, it is unlike anything that I can even describe, and I have a good support system. So only thing I can say is if you get a scare or if you get cancer, you've got to, if you don't have a good support system, it's time to start building one right then, right there, because that is not something you want to do alone. That is not something that your heart even should be able to stand alone. So, find someone. There are some people that are in your universe that are waiting to connect with you and to be there for you. And so that's my advice. If you find yourself in that situation, find somebody, because waking up in the middle, I'm one of those people who are over 55, but I haven't gone into menopause. I don't have it. But I do know waking up at night with sweats while waiting to get test results. I do know that. Panic attacks. I do know that. And so that's not something that I would want to see anybody go through at all. But if you are, I would hope that you would have someone in your life that could go through it with you.
And be proactive. I have a dear friend she's a nurse as well. And when this awful thing happened, is she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And within a week, her husband was diagnosed with prostate cancer. I went and bought all these books for him because I know her. I know she was going to do what she needs. I know that lady. She's going to do what she needs to do. I bought these books over to him. They had all this information about vitamins and diet and positive affirmations and all this. And he never opened the books. She opened the books. She got all the information and got him connected with all these different programs and ordered all these different vitamins and so forth. But that's the way she is. She has always been a person that was going to meet it at the door and deal with it. And of course, we buried him. And she is living an awesome life without him. But be proactive. No matter what health issue comes up for you, Be proactive. And the same thing for your children. Be proactive.
Yes. Get more than one opinion. That's me. Okay, I'm going to do my research. I'm going to get the doctor's opinion, and then I'm going to get another one. And because you want to know what your options are. And sometimes if you just listen to one person, they're going to give you the options that they're most comfortable dealing with. And so getting another person involved might give you a whole different perspective that might just be way more in line with who you are as a person at your core. And so one thing I will say is, I always say there's always another way or another opinion. I just never will believe that there's only one way to do something. So that's another piece of my advice. As I said, I pray that somebody listens to this, schedule an appointment, even if you have to go to the free clinic in your city. If you don't have health insurance, there's something somewhere. Something somewhere. Be proactive about looking for it. Okay. I didn't grow up with it. I know what the free clinics feels like when they won't give you an appointment. You got to go sit all day and wait until they call you. And so, I did that for dental care and for medical care in my younger days. And so, but it is worth it. Okay. Take a day out from work, go sit where you need to sit. Take you some books or your phone and get something done while you're waiting. It is an investment in you. The worst thing I have ever seen, this is making chills run down my body, is someone saying, I don't have time to go and sit at a doctor's office all day. And yet when something devastating pops up, the same time they would not take to prevent it, they now take trying to correct it. And some things cannot be corrected. So sometimes you run out of time. And so there's nothing on earth that is so important that you can't take the time to make sure you're in the best health that you possibly can be in. Okay. Just take a little time. The world won't stop turning because you took a little time to go to the doctor. It won't.
And of course, as always, this is a heavy topic, and we would appreciate your sharing this out, giving people that might need this information an opportunity to hear the information. We really appreciate that. So going on to something a little bit lighter, Lisa.
Woo, thank you.
Today is the 22nd.
Okay. And next month, we're going to have a lot of light topics.
Okay. Yes, this has been a pretty heavy couple of weeks for us. But there were topics that were necessary. And I feel very good about tackling them. And I will, as last week, I posted a lot of information for resources for domestic violence. I'll do the same thing for breast cancer and explain some of those initials that they put up there that I should have already known. But nevertheless, today is the announcement of the winner of the What's in Your Bag
contest.
What's in Your Bag Coast-to-Coast style. And let me pop up what it is that you will be winning. You have the opportunity to be the first winner of our Coast-to-Coast merchandise. So you will be receiving a cup with Coast-to-Coast beauty on both sides. So you can, isn't it? I'm like, how special.
I love it. I love it.
I'm really looking forward to sending that out. And the winner is, drum roll, Lisa, Cookie Anderson.
Congratulations, Cookie. Drink lots of coffee or tea.
Yes, enjoy. And we will be contacting you to get your address and have it mailed out to you. Yes. So next week, we will let you know what our new categories are for what's in your bag.
Yes.
And then that announcement for the winner will be at the end of the month as well. And we look forward to more participation because Lisa really likes this game.
Yeah, y'all make me don't participate. I feel bad. You don't want me to be sad, do you? Okay, I'm gonna let you look at my eyes.
You know, I have a couple of people who had asked some questions. In the beginning, after our first episode, one lady was asking us to talk about how to deal with teenagers.
Oh my God.
Now, if that's not heavy, I do not know.
Oh my God. So we can have one heavy topic next month. One.
But we also was asking about how to deal with mother-in-laws. And both of us are mother-in-laws, and both of us have mother-in-laws.
Yes. Oh, it'd be cute if we get one of our daughters-in-laws to come in and say how we're doing. You want to put them on the spot? Maybe we'll just write something.
Yeah, man. Okay. We'll have to censor it first, though.
Okay, so
one of the questions you asked me just before we came on, and we're going over, but I'm going to answer this question because this is the biggest question that we've gotten, and it's also the biggest question I ever am. Again.
Ooh, she must be talking about mother-in-laws. I should be talking about mother-in-laws.
Yeah, that'll be a series for sure. And teenagers. Either one.
Ooh, I don't know.
But the biggest question is why I never wear matching earrings. And I don't even know if it is fair to say I never wear matching earrings, but I wear a couple of times, not often, but yeah, for whatever I think it was like 17, and this has been 3 staples in my life, which has been earrings, lipstick, and eyeliner. And I decided a long time ago that just because I lost one of my favorite earrings was no reason not to wear it. So they generally match each other or match kind of with what I'm wearing, but they don't always match each as a set. So, you know, what do they say? Do you? And that's me doing me.
Well, I confess, I was the one to finally ask. I'm like, I know I've noticed it enough for me to know that it's intentional. So I knew it wasn't. The first time I saw it, I thought it was an accident. Then after a while, I said, no, that's intentional. And so after a while, I just said, you know what? I'm just going to ask, because a long time ago when I was young, it was a fad to wear mixed match earrings for just a hot minute. And I never got into the fad, but I remember it happening. And I wondered if it was a throwback from that, or if there was actually a story behind it. So It looks like it was actually a story behind it.
Yeah, I love my earrings from very young, because you know how we always have some little issue that we think is wrong with us. And I always felt my ears too big. So I don't go out the house without lipstick and earrings. That's just.
Oh my goodness. I thought it was my nose and lips, but.
Yeah, we all have our thing. So that's exactly what it is. It's no big mystery, nothing mysterious. I'm not trying to send some kind of diabolical message to you.
I was wondering about that. Oh. Yeah. Look, Sharen, if I pull on my short earring, that means it's on. And if I pull on my long earring, that means everything is chill. No message.
No, there's no message behind it. That's just me doing
my God. Okay. That's fun. That's fun. Yeah. Do you. You do it. You do you well. You really do.
I try. So congratulations, Cookie Anderson. We look forward to all of you beautiful people joining us next week. We'll announce what the topic is. We don't know yet. We've got a couple of things to choose from that we're kind of scared of.
Now we're going to do something light and airy next week, and then we'll move on to the heavy stuff. You know, we got to kind of cut that heavy up, put a little cream in.
Definitely.
Okay.
But please share out the broadcast, and please like our page and set the notification so that you know when we're on. We post little tidbits during the week to encourage you and kind of close up some things with some topics that we may have discussed earlier. And this is the end of another fabulous Coast to Coast session. And I am Sharen Davis on the West Coast.
And I am Lisa Washington on the East Coast.
Yes. Oh, and that's another thing. We will be posting our YouTube channel so that you can find us on the great internet, and our personal pages as well. And
yes, we will.
So we're closing out with a kiss, and this is the end of another great episode.
Bye.
Bye, Lisa.
Bye, Sharen. Okay, let's see.